uh, I wanted to basically say to them that the unions, when I went to City Hall, I seen y'all handling all my guys, because I went there with about, what, altogether I think 40 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be there because I wanted to see what was happening at City Hall. I wanted to support the project to the extent of us getting employment out of it if it happens. I wanted to be at the table.
Right.
I went there and they handed us badges, the unions. They was hip hip with us. Yeah, we glad y'all here. Oh, the community needs to speak. And they was pushing us to speak. We never got up there to speak because all the politicians, everybody spoke so long, we never got a chance to speak. But they was pushing us to speak. And the reason being because they know that for this project to go through, it needs to have community participation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, but don't push me up to speak. Don't push me out there in the front so this project can move forward. And then after it moves forward, say I don't need you. Because there's nothing in place that makes me even have to deal with you after you help me put it in place. And that's why I wanted to speak directly to the unions and tell them, if you really want to do something, sign a project labor agreement. Say that the people from the community is going to get a shot at these jobs, a real chance to get the jobs, and not like usual, there's these certain things written up that basically we gave a good faith effort to put people to work, but that was it. And after we gave a good faith effort, we found that we couldn't find anybody qualified. Why couldn't we find anybody qualified? Because there wasn't, most of the companies that we reached out to, they weren't union. And if they were union, the contracts were too big and they didn't have enough bonding. These are the type of things that has pushed us out of the process. And what a project labor agreement will say, that we're going to allow in this agreement for some companies to come in with other companies that might have bonding, they don't, but allow them to hook up with other companies that enable them to do the job. Even though they're small, they can still do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, I'm for this project, and I'll say what I said from the beginning. I'm for this project still conditionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not waving flags for this project and any other project that's not going to help my community. I've been here too long. I was the young kid that went to prison. I was the young kid like the 50-something individuals that became victims. I was one of them victims. Mm-hmm. And I was, and what made me mad about it, that our schools weren't nothing. I wasn't being taught in our schools. I didn't learn nothing. I didn't know how to read or write. So I went to prison, got a GED, got a associate's degree, and got a bachelor's degree in psychology. I didn't know how to read and write until I had time to learn. And why did I have that time? Because I wasn't so busy trying to eat, put clothes on, and keep a roof over my head. Yeah, a lot of the things that those individuals that got arrested out here did were wrong. And do they need to be punished? Yes. But please look at the background of them trying to survive, because I was there. I was trying to survive. I spent 7.5 years in prison because I was trying to survive, and I didn't know anything else. But now I'm educated. Now I read as not as a pastime. I read because I think reading is better than food. Reading feeds me better than any physical substance to go in my body could ever feed me, because it gives me the knowledge to compete with everybody else. It gives me the knowledge to know when somebody's playing games. It gives me the knowledge to stand up and say, stop faking, be real. And as far as I'm concerned, and to the unions, sign a project labor agreement, they faking. And there's nothing that I see that this community could get out of that process if we don't have a project labor agreement. That's why I stood up there that day, because I realized if I didn't mention it, it wasn't going to be mentioned at all. And I didn't stand up there because I wanted to be with everybody else, because I wanted to wave a flag of build a stadium. I wanted to stand up there and say it's definitely needed in our community for us to have employment. Excuse me.
Sure.
Hello? Yeah, you're gonna have to call me back. I'm in the house doing an interview. No, he just called me. Call him back. I'm back.
I don't mean to mess up your day. If you gotta make a couple calls, I can wait for a couple minutes.
Nah, man, I ain't gotta make no calls. This is my phone's ring all day long. Because I'm probably the only guy that's out here. I don't get paid for it. I work, I come home, and when I'm not at work, I'm out here searching for God's job. It's not something I get paid for. It's something that I do because I know it's necessary. Up into all the other years, every summer I have 200 kids, and I do the summer youth thing. This year, the program where I used to get the kids from, their contract or whatever got cut. So this summer, I guess I'll be free because I don't have no kids this summer. But that's what I do with my life. Since I went through the things that I went through, I seen that it's important to give back because I know why I went through them. I know why a lot of these individuals are unemployed because the opportunities are not given to them. And I have spoke to Bruce, and believe it or not, he sounds like a sincere person that wants to do things for the community. He wants to affect the 78% unemployment. But even him, with the structure, the way it is, with the way the unions and everything else is structured, he can't right. affect anything. And yes, everybody's in agreement. He could try, he could give a good faith effort, but he's not going to affect everything. Yes, everybody's in agreement. His family came up through what? Organized labor. And here it is. You think he would go against organized labor? I don't think so. So I think that the battle here for employment is with organized labor. And I think organized labor has to step up to the plate and say, we understand that we're coming in your house. We understand that we're eating out of your pots. We understand that we're the ones serving the food. At the least we could do is sit some plates down so y'all could eat too. Because at this point, they're talking about coming into our community, like coming into our house. They're talking about going into the financial pots of our community with the development that goes on where we lived all our lives. And they're talking about feeding themselves off the fat of our land, of our community. And they're talking about we're not going to sit at the table with them. That's what they say when they say this is going to be 100% union.
Mm-hmm. Unless there's some kind of agreement.
And yes, there's some kind of agreement, a project labor agreement.
And have you been talking to the unions about it, or?
Well, we have been speaking to the unions, and what we have been doing more than that. We have been putting the idea in their head and telling them we're going to have a document ready. And then what we're going to do, well, all the people who's involved, mm-hmm. all the people as Tish, the councilwoman, the Senator Valmonette, the preachers that have all the different groups that we could think of, build all the groups without alienating anybody, bring them all to the table with the project labor agreement and tell the union, listen, here go the project labor agreement. You need to sign it if you're really, really about helping the community and not just about coming in and eating up all the spoils and leaving. Mm-hmm. And that's basically it for me. Like I said in closing, I could say it's all about economics. It's about jobs. It's about changing the life for some people who have been suffering for a long time. It's about people keeping their apartments because they don't have the money. It's about people putting clothes on their kids' back. It's about somebody sitting down and having a decent meal. It's about the unions, and it's about Ratner and all of them saying that that's good for any human being to expect to eat, to have shelter over their head, and to have clothes on their back. Any human being and every human being should have that. But you know what? A lot of individuals down here in this area are losing that. And it's because they don't have the necessary financial base to help them keep that. A lot of individuals down here are saying, I can't afford to lose that. I have to take care of my kid. And they're doing the wrong things to do it, and they got caught up, and they might end up in jail for 20 years because they did what they felt by any means necessary. I must take care of my family. And I can't condone what people do, but I understand it.
Some of it has to do with the laws too. Those need to change as well.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that need to change, but the biggest thing that needs to change is the people up on top need to understand that the people down low on a different economic level than them ain't that much different than them. We all people. It ain't that much different. A lot of people try to turn situations into racist situations, and I was one of them guys when I was young. I believed wholeheartedly that every situation that exists has something to do with race. And two, I went behind them bars and seen reality. The reality that I seen behind them bars, that I started thanking God that He made somebody understand that they needed prisons, because a lot of people need to be in them. I started seeing that it ain't all about racism, because sometimes most of the people who control your community look just like you, and a lot of the things you need in your community, they're not there because those people who look like you are the leaders and not putting them there. So what I have learned throughout my travels and in my life is this: that people are the same no matter what color, no matter what economic level they're on. People are the same. You have good, you have bad. Black people, you have good, you have bad. White people, you have good, you have bad. Poor people, you have good, you have bad. Rich people. And what we need to do is talk to those people that have some kind of heart that's in position to make a change. Talk to those people that have some kind of heart that might be not at at the same level as those other people, but let them get together and work together and make a difference. That's how I see it. And my life as an individual is being devoted to that. My life is being devoted to paying back for all the wrongs that I ever did. And if everybody thought like that, it would make a change overnight. I have a saying. My saying is, what did we come into the world to do? If we didn't come into the world to make it easier for those to come behind us, then somebody tell me, what did we come in existence for? I was looking at TV at a channel. What channel was it? It was a channel where they was talking about these ants, and they was these black army ants, and their leader and them, they all was blind. But they came up against an elephant, this big elephant, these little ants, and they speeded up the camera, and you just seen the elephant disappear. Then they came up against this lake, but a lake to them looked like a river. But what they did really, really hit me. One would clamp down, the other one would grab onto that one and clamp down. And I said, these ants are clamping down, making a bridge. But they're going to die. But knowing they're going to die, they still made the bridge for those who came behind them to move forward. See, because they understood that they came into life for one reason: to make sure that evolution, to make sure that their kind continue to move forward. And I believe as mankind, that's what we came into the world for, to make sure that all human beings are able to move forward with a better life, move forward with better morals, move forward with a better attitude. And if we didn't come into existence for that, somebody please tell me what we came into existence for. That's it.